If you've ever felt exhausted, overwhelmed, or like you're running on empty, you're not alone. All right, burnout has become a common part of modern day life. According to one Houston expert, the answer to the problem isn't working less, it's learning how to recover better.
I think that a mindful rest practice is what can solve the problem of burnout for us. Just the grace of an intentional slowing down for recharge, set into your calendar, and practiced at a repeated, regular, rhythmic tempo.
What he said. Terry Williams is a neuroscience coach and former strength and conditioning coach, so brains and brawn mixed together, right? His new book, Life in Rhythm, Become Your Best Without Burning Out, gives us some tools and practices to bring balance to our lives. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too, because we all need you. All right, this is going to be a therapy session right here. All right, and this, you kind of look back on your life and you realize why you're here right now. As a child, you loved writing and storytelling, and teachers noticed that you had detailed writing and vivid storytelling skills, and all that would come to play, but you realized it, the power of words to connect when you wrote a speech for your grandfather's funeral.
Yeah, it was a sad time, a time of loss, but then I was able to tell happy stories in a sad moment that brought people comfort. And I was able to realize then, man, even in the worst of scenarios where I kind of was like, why are you asking me, a kid, to speak in a eulogy?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I see how this connected people.
Yeah.
And I see how even through tears, people found a way to smile. And I'm like, there's power in words. And I started to understand that I had a unique gift, humbly, of putting words together in a powerful way.
And I think sometimes we should listen to kids more, right? Because I remember when my grandmother died and my mom was crying, my niece walked up to my mom, she goes, don't worry, she just had too many birthdays.
Oh, that's
like
beautiful.
The way that she put it, right?
Yeah.
It just brought a smile to everybody. All right, you headed off, you're a Texas Ex.
Yes, I am.
Hook 'em horns,
Hook
me
'em
too.
horns,
Yeah, there you go.
all the way.
Communications and media studies major, so that makes sense. And then you got your master's degree at U of H in health and human performance. Where did that part come in?
Yeah, so I was in a midterm exam studying radio, TV, film, and starting to realize in the moment, in this exam, I look around across the room and everybody is a bit stressed, and it looks like the outcome of this exam is going to determine something major for them. And I had a moment where I said, you know, I don't know if I want to build my entire career on the foundation of radio, TV, film, but I imagine that at some point I'm going to end up using radio, TV, and film.
Yeah, it's just one of the tools.
Do,
yeah, sometimes we do that. And that's kind of one of your parts of advice too, is that sometimes people stay in such one lane when there's like a 20-lane highway there for you to navigate, but you want to stay in that one lane, and so that limits you. All right, and then you had some training at Harvard.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in that moment. I decide I don't want to do radio, TV, film, but I want to do something I'm passionate about. I go to seeking purpose and find I'm good at helping people get better. So that's where I go into strength and conditioning, pursue the master's, health and human performance, become a strength coach. And then I start working with athletes, and a lot of them are like, hey, I love how you help me run faster, jump higher, but the biggest perk is the mindset development. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go seek neuroscience coach training. And so that's when I did the certificate program with Harvard, which was amazing.
When you say the word burnout, it's not the first time that we've seen it, but define it for us.
Yeah, I feel like burnout is when you run the red lights, you ignore your body and brain's warning signs in the name of ambition or seeking a promotion or in some way trying to advance. But as you know, when you're in a car, if you run the red lights, you don't get to the destination quicker, you actually crash.
Right, yeah.
So burnout describes that moment of the crash.
Yeah.
In the fallout of that, we then say, you know what, I'm stopping at green lights.
Yeah.
Hated what happened when I ran the red lights, now I'm scared, so I'm overstimulated, I'm just gonna stop.
Well, it's funny, you use that analogy, and it's funny how many times I've done with friends where they would run the light and I would not, and then all of a sudden we arrived at the same time, or sometimes I arrived before them, right? All right, we talk about modern burnout. We started really kind of chronicling it in the 70s. We saw people working in healthcare and social workers in certain professions, and then in the 80s, we saw that crash you're talking about. Remember movies like Wall Street and Gordon Gekko, greed is good, but is it really? We also had a cocaine culture happening where people were like, I have to do this to stay ahead, but what ends up happening? They crash.
Right. We find all these ways to try to get to where we want to go, and then when we find that it's a dead end, we say, what's the point of effort? And so my big question is this: why run the red light? Why stop at the green light? Why not embrace a yellow light lifestyle? You're moving forward, but now at a measured pace. You're not speeding or stalling. You're genuinely honoring the rhythm of the road.
Yeah, and as you say, stop viewing burnout as something you just have to push through.
Right.
You know, and today's always-on culture is harder to disconnect and recharge, because people will say, look, people have always worked hard, and we certainly know. You know, my mom, of course, would share my dad too, the stories. We were working through the Great Depression. Okay, they were on the cotton farm, literally on the cotton farm, and the whole bit pressure was there too. It was a different kind of pressure. So today, tech and stress, we're seeing it in all of the testimonies on Capitol Hill and courtrooms. We're seeing the impact of that because we can't disconnect.
Yeah, we're always on. We're always looking at a screen. I think one of the best things that we can do is unplug. And I find that when we purposefully recharge, we more powerfully re-engage. So the funny thing is, ironically, we would do better work and be more productive if we took the time to rest.
Yeah.
And I think life rhythms go awry in so many ways. And like, we know it when it happens, but we don't know what to do about it, right? It's like, you make good money but got a bad marriage, life is out of rhythm. You have a good time, it leads to bad health, life is out of rhythm.
Or to your point, you take time to rest. The time to rest is the vacation that you're completely overwhelmed planning. Just stay home.
Yeah, good point, right?
You just stay home.
And so what if we did things more simply and didn't rely on screens and AI and tech for everything? Now, I'm not saying these things are bad. We have to live with it. It's a part of, it's ingrained in culture at this point.
Well, it used to be like when you got off work at 5, you went home
unplug.
and you stayed with the family and hope it. Now you're constantly on your phone. Oh, got an email from Bob. I got to do this, got this and that, right? We stay on there. You did your TEDx talk, Mindful Rest. And what was the response? And I'm pretty sure you weren't surprised by it, but it just basically affirmed what you were saying.
Yeah, so I did a research study that I cited in the TEDx talk where I literally worked with people who are working full time, who are busy, who are navigating stress, and I proposed this 3-minute mindful rest practice, and there were 2 simple metrics: your level of stress, your level of energy. 100% of the people in the study reported that after taking just 3 minutes to just breathe and silence their minds, they felt lower levels of stress, higher levels of energy.
And you can do that anywhere,
You can do it anywhere. Your breath you were born with, your breath you'll die with. Your breath is never a thing that you forgot at home. There's a tool that is free that you have access to that nobody can have power over you with, that you can access at any moment, and it can help you to beat burnout.
Okay, so we don't have 3 minutes to do it, but give it to me in 3 seconds.
I'll give you a really quick one.
Okay.
If you inhale for 4 seconds and hold for 4 seconds, then exhale for 4 seconds and hold for 4 seconds, you're practicing something called box breathing. This is something you can remember, keep with you. Just that 16-second slice, if you were to do it 3 times over, it's going to almost instantly add to your nervous system regulation, mental clarity, and just your sense of peace and well-being.
All right. In this book, Life in Rhythm, understanding that people are already overwhelmed, you wrote it where we could simply follow along. And then at the end of each chapter, kind of a call to action. Yeah,
it's got journaling prompts called Pause and Process. And these are invitations to co-create. So the reader isn't just a consumer, the way we are on screens all the time. The reader is also a creator, a contributor. The reader is taking agency and autonomy in their own journey. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to read some stuff I can forget about later. It's like, okay, you've read, now we reflect.
Autonomy and responsibility.
There we go. And then we can really change the rhythm of our life.
All right. Mindset and recovery, moving from the fixed mindset, my circumstances is my ceiling.
So I love to say this. In a fixed mindset, my circumstance is my ceiling. In a growth mindset, my circumstance is information connected to opportunity. If I'm in a fixed mindset, wherever I am, I'm understanding the limitations in that environment to be my actual limitations. I identify with it. With a growth mindset, I say, okay, I'm experiencing something. I'm allowed to feel like this is hard, this is bad, this is unfair, but I'm not allowed to ascribe identity to it and say, I'm stuck here, I belong here.
Instead asking, what am I learning from this situation? And you also say, see opportunity in challenges. You know, just the other day, we found out that Elon Musk is the first trillionaire, the richest man in the world. But if you look at his history, several of his businesses failed, and he could have given up so many times. You know, even when SpaceX got started, I think the first 3 launches blew up, right? So it's like taking those challenges and going, okay, what's the opportunity here? And they said, the scientists said, well, here's the deal. It blew up. We were going to ask why. instead of going away and crying about it, we're going, why is how they ended up with the answer to things. So I love when you say, see opportunity and challenges. Too many times we let challenges, defeat us.
Yeah, failure isn't final. Thomas Edison tried 10,000 times unsuccessfully before creating the light bulb, and here we sit under beautiful lighting.
Yeah. In fact, Thomas Edison was that little kid who the school asked him, I believe, to maybe he's best served at home.
Yeah.
And his mom said, go out there in the field and do what you want to do.
Yeah, his mom famously lied to him. He said, what did the teachers tell you? And she said, oh, they said you're too smart and too special.
Yeah. And he was, right? And look what we have now, this thing called electricity. All right, this book is good for just about anyone. I would imagine, like right now, we have so many students who just got through graduating in May who are stressed about what the future looks like in front of them. Great book for them. Great book for anyone in a career who feels overwhelmed or just anyone who's worried about what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah, it's good for the achiever who doesn't want to be the overachiever, right? You want to advance, obviously. You want to earn more money, have more impact, do better in your community, perform well on your job, but you don't want to do that at the expense of your mental health or your presence with your family. And so the concept of life in rhythm is this, right? Forget balance. If you were to put work and family on a scale, one of those old school scales where it teeters, family should sink that scale, right? We're not saying you should spend equal amount of time or mental energy at both places. What we're saying is be present right here where your feet are. There's a rhythmic flow and a smooth cadence to, I do great work and I'm fully present and accountable there. And then when I go home, I'm fully present there as well.
And that brings peace. All right, you said something else there that we're going to have to get you back on for another segment when you said, I don't have to be the overachiever, because somewhere along the way, we're like, now a 4.0 is not good enough. Why aren't you not a 5.0? Whatever.
It's a moving goalpost, that's right.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, chill out before you burn out. You can find the book Life in Rhythm by Terry Williams on Amazon.